The dark night of the soul comes just before revelation. When everything is lost and all seems darkness, then comes the new life and all that is needed. There comes a moment in life where your soul refuses to pretend anymore, where the mask you have been carrying for years can no longer hold, where your nervous system collapses because authenticity has been denied for too long. This is what many people call the dark night of the soul. I call it the isolation period of healing. Not because you choose isolation, but because it becomes the only place where truth can finally speak. For me, this chapter began in my divorce. What shattered me was not the separation itself, but it was realizing how long I silenced my own voice to keep peace. How often I heard lies, and instead of standing up for myself, I stayed quiet. I tried to make everyone else happy. I tried to fit into a box that was never mine. And mostly, I shaped myself into who I thought I should be instead of who I truly was. So I kept betraying my truth in order to avoid conflict, and in doing that, I was abandoning myself, and ultimately, I was not honoring myself, and eventually, my body started to rebel. Anxiety, exhaustion, chronic fatigue showed up, and that is when I realized there was nothing left to fix, force, or push through. All I could do was finally stop and listen. My soul reached its limit and it whispered, "No more." So in this video, I am going to help you to recognize the real symptoms of a dark night of the soul and how they differ from depression, burnout, or crisis. And most importantly, discover the practical ways to move through it and come out transformed. Because here's the good news: the dark night of the soul is not permanent. It is not punishment, but it is initiation. And as Carl Jung said, there is no coming to consciousness without pain. So let's slow this down and talk about what this phase really is. This isolation you're feeling right now isn't depression. It is not you going backwards, and definitely it is not failure. Depression and burnout are psychological states of depletion, but dark night of the soul is existential spiritual restructuring. So what is happening? Your soul is literally pulling you back home to yourself after years of living out of alignment with who you actually are. So your identity starts to fall apart because it was not built on your truth. Your nervous system starts shutting down because you cannot keep performing in survival mode anymore. And your old coping patterns stop working because they were built around protecting the version of you that no longer exists. And this is happening because you are not supposed to rebuild your life from your old self, but instead, this isolation period is here to help you to rebuild from who you actually are. And this is the part where the false self dies. So the real and authentic you finally can space to rise. So now that you understand what this isolation actually is, remember, maybe right now it feels like death, but it is actually the birth of who you were always meant to be. And from this place, let's explore the 5 essentials you need to recognize and work with when you are moving through dark night of the soul. First, acceptance. Give yourself permission to really accept that this is a natural and necessary part of your healing. This isn't failure, and it is not a sign that you are broken. It is the soul calling you back home to yourself. So start noticing the value in turning inward and separate your authentic voice from all the internalized messages you have been carrying for years. This part is about releasing the pressure to perform, to prove, or to be who others want you to be. And even if you can't fully step away from responsibilities, find small pauses of quiet, these tiny moments where you can breathe and return back to yourself. Second, surrender. Let things simply be. Stop fighting the process. Allow yourself to pause without guilt, without the fear that you will lose relationships or opportunities. Practice a new ways how to ground yourself in a stillness, and also, very importantly, feel it in your body. Watch your relationships and energy shift. Some connections will naturally regain your energy and you can re-engage with them when you are ready. Others might need boundaries, adjustments, or even endings, and that is the part of this work as well. So honor the grief, the discomfort, and the tender moments that come with letting go. So remember, surrendering includes accepting that some relationships will evolve or fall away. Third, loneliness and relationship reevaluation. Some days you will feel alone, and that is normal. Your old patterns and old friends might no longer fit the new version of you that is emerging. So finding your people takes time, because this is part of reclaiming space for the life and the people that truly resonates with your energy. Fourth, self-care. This is where the practical meets the soulful. Nourishing your body and mind is one of the most important things you will do, because they are your vessel through this transformation. So sleep well, eat well, practice breathwork or meditation, take walks, feel the sun on your skin, and get into nature. Do whatever helps you to regulate your nervous system and release the old emotions that surface in the process. Self-care is not indulgence here. It is a vital part of this work. And finally, remember, this is an ongoing journey. There is no set timelines. The depth of your healing will look different from anyone else's. And as you hold those practices close, like acceptance, surrender, self-care, and as you move through the shifts in your relationships, your body and your energy will change. And you will notice that something beautiful starts to happen. You begin to notice that the old timelines and the old pressures will start to fall away. Because here's the truth, the dark night of the soul does not come with timer. It does not follow the schedule, and there is no linear path from collapse to clarity. So the real change comes with the rebirth, and it happens when you're ready to step fully into your own truth. Because during this period of time, you are going through metamorphosis, and it ends when your new self is rooted enough to choose authenticity over belongings. Now, if this resonated, make sure you subscribe to my channel, and thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. Your new life will cost you your old one.